after, Cats, Cops and stuff, you're hitting a stride, you're at a good point in your career. At that point, like, how do you start developing new material after that? Because I imagine like if you're going to clubs and trying out new stuff, you're well known at that point.
Yeah, all day long, I think of things that I think are funny that I would like to tell to someone. And that was the case long before I was a stand up. Uh, if I was separated from friends, if I was at home and my mother did or said something, horrible, later I would tell to a friend and, make jokes about if something happened that was embarrassing to me while I was at the mall, catch up to my friends. I tell them the story, right? All the time, stuff happens. And I always thought of it in the framework of, or when I was away at basketball camp, it would be like I'd write postcards about, and it was always, I had this sort of collection of things all the time that I thought were funny that I would want to share with somebody. So stand up is no different. I carry with me on the uh, clipped to my belt loop. I carry a pen, and in my back pocket, I carry a little notebook. And when when something happens or I have a thought about something, I write it down and then I put it in my bigger notebook eventually and try it out on stage. And so that process has never really changed.
Very organic.
I never, I used to have a friend who stayed with me sometimes who was a comic, and she would go into the living room sometimes and rehearse. And I was like, what are you doing? And so, oh, I'm rehearsing. She would write a whole set. you know, I know she was a headliner at the time. So she would write 45 minutes to an hour of material. And then she would go like rehearse it in an empty room until she memorized it and then take it on stage. And I don't know how long that set, I don't know if she did that same set for a year, 2 years. I have no idea. I don't think I asked. I don't have anything like that. I have 45 years of material rattling around somewhere in my brain. And while I'm on stage, whatever I can remember to say, I say.
Yeah.
Um, as I think of new things, they tend to be at the top of my brain, especially if it's something that is time sensitive. If it's if it's about Trump's odd ear bandage. The truth is with Trump, because he's such a fire hose of horror. You the stuff he does, you'd have to talk about it within the frame of time where he's done it, because there's new stuff a day later, the day after that. He's always doing some new horrible, god awful thing that, and I think it's a technique he has. Not just that he does things, he says things that are horrible. And I think he does it intentionally to sort of so that it was sort of like the debate, it's just this fire hose of lies. And I think it's very hard when addressing him directly to get a handle on which thing to deal with.